Garry Kasparov's calculations goes wrong in this match against Tigran Petrosian, and he basically goes down by a minor piece in the game, forcing his resignation as well. So Tigran is playing with the black pieces here, and Garry Kasparov is playing with the white pieces here. So after the knight to f6, this pawn is pushed to e3, and after that, bishop now comes to g4 there. So this is basically the queen's gambit accepted variation. Once this pawn is pushed, this pawn is captured, and the bishop comes to g4, pinning the knight, and this pawn is now captured back with your bishop or to from c4, and after e6, h3 is played, attacking the bishop, and the bishop retreats to h5, and a knight to c3 now, and pawn push to a6 now, allowing you to push b5 later on, attacking the bishop. So g4 first by Kasparov, attacking black's bishop, and bishop now goes to g6, placing it in this very nice light square where it enjoys a lot of space and a lot of control on this light square. So knight to e5 now, trying to capture this very good bishop of black, the light square bishop, and now because your pawn is not pushed here to h6, you cannot retrieve the bishop right away, and this bishop's look gone. So knight to d7, trying to counter that knight, but Garry didn't waste any time capturing this bishop with his knight, and now you cannot capture with your f pawn. If you capture with your f pawn, the bishop will capture this pawn, and your king will be pretty much exposed quite early in the game. This is an uncastled king, so you got to capture with your h pawn, and once the knight is captured with the pawn, bishop goes to f1 by Kasparov, and after that pawn is pushed to f1, and bishop now goes to g2, fianchetting this bishop. Now we cannot push this b5 right now, because that leaves this c6 pawn hanging. So because of that, the queen goes to c7, giving a protection for this pawn, allowing you to push for b5 if required, and getting this control of this outpost for your knight if you want to. So castles on the king side, Kasparov, and bishop to e7 by Tigran, and f4 now pushing the f pawn and launching an attack on the king side. So knight to b6, and the pawn is again pushed by Kasparov to g5, attacking the knight, and the knight goes to d7 here. A better move would be to place your knight here on d5 in the center of the board, where it would be most active, and queen now comes to g4, and a better move would be to push your pawn over here to a4, but he went for queen to g4 Kasparov, and castles on the queen side, black. Now as to the 16th move, very late castling, and a better move would be to push this pawn and attack the pawn structure over here, because it's defended quite nice. Now you cannot push this pawn because you have this king over here, and you need to get it to safety. Rook comes to b1 now, angling the rook, allowing you to push the pawn here to b4 if required, because it's already attacked by the bishop once. So after that, king gets away to b8, trying to get away into the safe square of a7 over here, and b4 now pushing the pawn, and knight goes to d5, attacking the pawn twice, and Kasparov just ignores that attack and brings his knight to game. Knight to a4 is played, and pawn push to f5, attacking the queen, and once the queen goes to g3, knight captures that particular pawn like this, because it's attacked twice, and Tigran just accepted that, and bishop now goes to d2, attacking the knight, and the knight retrieves to d5, and a rook comes to c1. A better move would be to bring your queen back into the game on the queen side by playing it to e1 over here, creating a battery of queen and bishop, but the rook move was played instead, and king now goes to a7, allowing you to bring your rooks to protect the pawns and the king in the back rank, and also connecting your rook throughout the board. So queen now goes to e1, creating the battery we mentioned earlier, and bishop goes to a3, attacking the rook, and the rook had to move. It moved to the c2, and queen goes to d6 over here. So the rook comes to b3, attacking this bishop. This bishop is out of space. It doesn't have any good square to go to. All other squares are covered by Kasparov's pieces, and because of that, queen to e7 was forced, creating this space of d6 for this bishop if it's attacked twice. So queen goes to e2, and rook to b8 by Tigran, and queen now comes to d3, attacking this bishop twice. So you need to retrieve the bishop to d6, and it was done. And knight goes to b2, allowing you to push the pawn here to a4 and launch an attack on the pawn structure of the black king. Rook to c8 now, bringing the last rook into the game, and knight to c4 and bishop to c7 is played. A better move would be to bring your knight over here to b6 and attack this knight, because this it's already protected by the knight, and in case this pawn is pushed, you can just capture the knight, and you'll have to capture back. Otherwise, you lose one more your piece, and you can use that opportunity to equal the game and eliminate a kind of attack on the queen side. Pawn push to a4 now, and b5 is played now. Again, the better move would be to bring your knight over here to b6, but the pawn move happened, and once the pawn is captured, the pawn captures back with an attack on this knight over here. So rook to a2 is now played. So you're wondering what will happen if if you capture this knight. If you capture this knight, it's a forced checkmate in four move. So let's say instead of the rook move, you capture the knight, so the rook can sacrifice like this, and after that, if the king had to capture, so and after that, you will capture with a check, and the rook covers, and then you will be getting a checkmate like this. So after the move, rook a2 is played, and king goes to b7 over here. A better move would be to bring your bishop over here to d6, but that didn't happen in the game. So bishop to b4 now, attacking the queen, and the queen dropped back to e8, and after that the bishop occupied that d6 square. So if we had played this bishop move, this bishop wouldn't be here sitting on this d6, attacking your bishop and the rook. So rook gets away to a8, supporting the pawn on a6, and after that queen goes to b1, creating a battery on this b file, and the king now moves away to c6. After that, rook again attacks this a6 pawn. It's attacked twice, it's already defended once. A better move would be for this bishop to capture this bishop, and the game will continue. You'll have to capture back with your king or with your rook in that position, because this knight will be pinned with a check already. So now basically Tigran captures that knight, and this is where Kasparov calculations goes wrong. He was looking to create a good attack, and it's quite normal. You have all your pieces and the king is exposed. King of Tigran is exposed. So rook first creates a check, and after the rook is captured, the rook captures back, and after that the bishop covers the check, and bishop to c5 now, attacking this pin bishop, and queen goes to d8, supporting the bishop, and after that queen to a1 is played. A better move would be to bring your bishop over here, back over here, and knight now captures the bishop, and once the pawn captures back, the king captures the pawn back, and after that rook to a4 here, and as of this position, Kasparov is down by a knight, and Tigran is basically winning, and he's already up by 9 points, and which forced Kasparov to resign the match. So basically things didn't go as expected, and he was looking to sacrifice the knight to checkmate or create a checkmate combination, but that didn't happen, and which resulted in Kasparov being down by a knight, and Tigran won the match. So thanks very much for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.